I already did a video talking about all this, but as many people were, asking, so on, I'll do another one and I'll try to explain as best as I can about all this and how all this works and so on. So, could psychedelics help treat autoimmune disease? Yeah. So let's go. Um, yeah, I mean, it's thought that psychedelics help people heal from these conditions by creating new neural pathways. They might increase our plasticity, allowing us to develop new thought patterns after experience. A new model for experimental medicine could enable people to experience better outcomes from treatment resistant diseases and help them achieve a new level of growth and self healing. Some researchers believe that psychedelics could also be a tool in treating physical and mental ailments. The physical processes that spur neural growth could also affect our self defense systems. So, psychedelics also modify our immune responses by working on signal pathways. This is very important because most of us and most people that are living all these diseases have basically, our nervous systems and our immune systems have gone basically nuts, and we need to again train them in a way that we are no longer reacting the way we do. So this comes as a huge healing technique for Lyme disease and many other things. So the pathways are essential in the following processes: inflammation, increases in cells, and cell survival. Our cells' ability to carry out this basic task allow us to fight disease, heal, and much more. So if psychedelics can cause changes in the cellular processes, there's a massive potential for these substances to help us treat a variety of physical and what they call mental ailments or inflammation, again, neuroinflammation. These include autoimmune diseases, inflammatory disorders, cancer, infections like, Lyme, and so on. Autoimmune diseases alone affect like 50 million people in the US alone. That's about 20% of the national population. More than 80% of people affected by these ailments are women. The reason why is because, with estrogen and estrogen dominance, which we get from endocrine disruption and stress and so on, I'm not surprised because, estrogen and histamine fit on each other, which means that we are basically more easily affected by all these toxins and this kind of inflammation. So, yeah. So, we're learning that more and more diseases have autoimmune origins, which, like it doesn't matter depression, anxiety, sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, schizophrenia, anxiety, all and on and on. It's all about inflammation, it's all about toxicity, and again, it's all about the nervous system that's gone nuts. And yeah, but how do psychedelics work on a cellular signal pathway to influence the immune system? That's incredibly important. Uh, Little research has been done on this front, but there is some of it. So yeah, we propose that psychedelics hold the potential to attenuate or even resolve autoimmunity by targeting psychosomatic origins, maladaptive chronic stress responses, inflammatory pathways, immune modulation, and enteric microbe populations. There are many studies as well about, for instance, psilocybin and the microbiome, how psilocybin also, especially for women, affects the HPG-HPA axis, which is controlling the hormones, which is going to control inflammation at the same time. And, you know, others are exploring the perceptions on which diseases psychedelics can treat because we come to understand more about these diseases, and you might be surprised by some of these conditions now considered autoimmune. Again, autoimmune diseases is not the body being an idiot and basically, hey, I'm going to attack myself. It's not like that at all. It's basically there is some toxicity, and at some point, infections, candida, mold, parasites, whatever it is, and your body is basically reacting the wrong way to them or actually reacting properly to them, causing inflammation. Whenever you cut yourself, the mast cells, other immune processes in your body have to go there to fix that, cut or whatever it is. It works exactly in the same way. So yeah. Um, so we have to change our idea of autoimmune disease. In the last few years, medicine has broadened its idea of what constitutes an autoimmune disease. Several diseases and disorders we thought came from other causes are now being reinterpreted as autoimmune related illnesses. So even Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, schizophrenia, major depressive disorder, cardiovascular disease, chronic fatigue syndrome, all of these have in common inflammation again. So the characteristics of an autoimmune disease would be, first of all, inflammation. So autoimmune diseases come from an overreaction in our immune system that's causing inflammation. But this is again a response to all these pathogens, toxins, and things that are going on that's causing the immune system to react this way. And then again, in women with the loop with mast cells, estrogen, and so on, it's a lot harder to stop these mast cells from flaring and going nuts. Yeah. So infections that go out of control for the same reason, because there is an underlying really bad microbiome and probably insulin resistance and all these mix all together. So pathogens can trigger autoimmune disease, and some people are more, let's say, predisposed to this phenomenon than others. No, nearly all autoimmune disease have been linked to some initial infection, sometimes bacteria, like so your immune system attacks them basically and tries to reestablish order to what a terrain that's been completely out of whack, out of balance, and we need to restore this balance back into the body again, so the immune system doesn't go nuts basically. HPA dysfunction, this hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, is critical to our stress response. When we are stressed, activation along this axis causes glucocorticoids to release. These hormones act on several organs, telling them to redirect energy. High levels of stress hormone cause immune suppression and inflammation. Mitochondrial dysfunction. Mitochondria helps our cells create energy. When they become defective, they spill their DNA or RNA inside the cell. Here, immune sensors within the cell detect genetic information as foreign, and then there is overproduction of interferon, for instance. This inflammatory protein might contribute to many autoimmune diseases. But then again, for this to happen, there has to be already a terrain that is a mess, toxicity, and something or many things that are causing it. This biosis, this is an imbalance in person's microbiome. It means that the good bacteria, germs, or virus, whatever it is, our bodies are overwhelmed by the bad ones. It can also mean the microbiome has shifted or moved. Trauma or stress, physiological processes affect how our immune system interprets threats. We're learning more, and here is where psilocybin, for instance, is incredibly useful, because you're gonna be able. I always say like this, like mirror, mirror on the wall, am I really here at all? Which means that psilocybin is gonna basically work showing you what you have to fix, showing you, if you want to call it your trauma, whatever it is that's been hidden that you need to face. It's not about hiding it with pills. It's not about, no, you need to face it. Whatever it is, we all have them. It's part of being alive. It's part of how we work and our survival mechanism actually work. So, if you are able to process it, facing it, but actually being able to face it, because that's what psychedelics do, you're going to heal a lot faster, and you're going to be able to process all this at the same time of everything else and fix all these systems. So nutrient deficiencies and exposures, the immune system depends on certain nutrients to function. On the other hand, some trace elements like metals have been linked to autoimmune disease. So gut permeability, leaky gut, is when the junctions between cells in our intestine aren't tight enough to contain gastrointestinal contents. This is thought to be caused by inflammation and leads to a chronic immune response. This is very important. This is also very much linked, like Dr. Sarah Myhill explains, to the fourth density of form of water, which I believe is what also makes the permeability to stop happening. But this is a whole different story, which I'm going to go about in another video, because it's actually fascinating and really amazing. So yeah. So now that we understand the basic characteristics of autoimmune disease, how could psychedelics work again? No, psychedelics target the psychosomatic origins of disease, helping people get to the root of the trauma. People's post-trauma and stress may affect their ability to physically heal from autoimmune disease. So by helping people process these feelings through psychedelic experiences, these substances could treat illness. So they also might modify chronic stress response, working to regulate your HPA axis. So, current research suggests that psychedelics could drastically improve people's stress levels and well-being. By bringing down chronic stress, psychedelics might work to decrease stress hormone production by the HPA axis, and also regulate hormones in the case of, for women especially. So lastly, psychedelics might work, or actually work, on the enteric microbiome. You might already know that many psychedelics, LSD, psilocybin, mescaline, work on serotonin receptors, and serotonin is essential for mood, cognition, gut motility, appetite, and basal body temperature. Psychedelics might represent a modifier link between our gut and our brains. So, yeah, so once again, do psychedelics reduce inflammation? This is a huge one, which for me was insane. I mean, my inflammation dropped so much in 1 week that, I came from bedridden and unable to think at all to being like myself and moving. And yeah, I mean, don't take me wrong, it takes a while, it's a process, right? But it's an amazing one, and it really, really works in amazing ways. So all the research on this relation, it's in early stages. We have some evidence that psychedelics could have inflammation suppressing and immune modulating effects. 5-HT2A serotonin receptors could be responsible for this effect. For instance, LSD can suppress the proliferation of B lymphocytes and inflammatory cytokines in rats. This creates an immune response and signals the immune system. Similar research has found a link in the relationship between 5-HT2A receptors, which LSD works on, and inflammation. So, well, we can see that some psychedelic processes could have a hand in suppressing inflammation. Don't expect, I mean, it works in a subtle way, and it works in a kind of long-term situation while you're also fixing all these also PTSD trauma-based loops that are created because of having a, you know, a, yeah, a nervous system that's been on fire for far too long. So can microdosing bring down inflammation? Yeah, indeed, it does. It does big time. So yeah, this is something to be very optimistic about. And again, plant medicine is not a drug. Plant medicines are there far, far, far before any of these people told us that they were drugs. They are not. What it really is everything, or most of the food that is in the supermarket, that's proper, that these are proper drugs, all this cereal and processed fruit, fruit of sugar. So we have to actually rethink all of this and rethink the way that we've been actually treating all these situations and change our perspectives. Because also, and I'm not talking about microdosing anymore, I'm talking about, let's call it normal dosing, or yeah, hero dosing, however you want to call it, accessing to this realm in which you are gonna access your consciousness and know yourself and know about these other realms that are actually here, and how actually reality works is gonna help not just heal but avoid getting sick and having an attitude to life that's gonna change your perspective and be less stressed and live a better life. So they are there for a reason. And again, we keep forgetting about all this, and yet we are totally okay by taking corticoids and whatever it is that people having no clue give us, and they are taking our power away big time. So yeah, I hope that you find it interesting. If you're suffering from any of these diseases, or even if you're not, but you really want to feel better and feel more connected and avoid getting sick and avoid yeah, keep keep in touch, and I'm here to help you too. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.